Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome inside the Fan Cave. This is where we do business and talk sports every single night of the week. 412-575-2600. It's the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. I'm Bob Pompeani, joined tonight by Andrew Fillipponi up at 93.7 The Fan. Hit us up on that number or on social media at KDPomp, at the Pony Express. And we're going to get to the Steelers in a bit, but I want to start it with a tweet that we got from Jasmine Card 7. And her question, simply put, was, what would it take for the Pirates to make the playoffs? You know, earlier tonight, Andrew, on our show, we did a little comparison of where they were just 3 weeks ago on July 19th, tied for the third wild card. They were 52-48. Since then, they've gone 6-14, and now they've dropped 5.5 out. But more important than that, they have 5 teams essentially they have to climb out. So slim and none, I think, are the opportunities here. But to answer Jasmine's question here, if you have 42 games left, I think minimum 27-15. I think it's unrealistic to even think this way, but it may take more than that to get above 85 wins.
Yeah, and the Phillies and Diamondbacks look like they're both going to win tonight, which would push it to 6 games back here, 4 games under 500. Yeah, it's going to take a miracle. It's going to take what happened with Clint Hurdle when he was with the Rockies and they won a bunch of games in a row in 07 to make it to the World Series, or what Boston did this year, what the A's did in 2002 when they won 20 in a row. Like, something absurd is going to happen. Or conversely, Bob, we saw this happen with the Mets last year, actually. The team that they're chasing would need to completely fall apart. But as you mentioned and pointed out, there's too many teams ahead of them where if that happened, who's even to say that they would be the beneficiary of that real big-time collapse? So it just stinks that there's still a full quarter of the baseball season to go.
Yeah.
The equivalent of half a hockey season, 42 games, and the Pirates look like they're going to just play out the string again and be totally irrelevant. And it'll be more of a race to get to 500 and stay out of last place than it'll be anything about a playoff spot.
Yeah, and if we're talking about bigger reasons why this has happened, really close to the top of the list is just the Paul Skeens situation, how it's gone from Cy Young to where he is now. And the starting pitching in general, I think, has not been what I thought it would be. The bullpen, you know about all of that. But Ben Cherington oversees all of this, Andrew, and this is year 7. It'll be year 7, maybe finishing in last place again, who knows. But after 7 years of this, even though he's made some good deals along the way, he's made some better draft picks, all this sort of stuff, they still did not get to where they proclaimed they were going to go, and that was the playoffs.
Yeah. You know, the monkey wrench in all this, Bob, is going to be what happens to baseball.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that may give them some time to figure things out.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, is there? I don't have a good feeling. Jeff Passan just repeated it today. He said the players over their dead bodies are going to let a salary cap go through, and that's what the owners want. It looks like this is going to probably stretch on. It's definitely going to probably wipe out spring training on time, and I have a hard time envisioning opening day happening in March. So how many games are lost? And what
Plus,
changes
there's a new
get
television
made as a
deal
result of
coming
that?
up. They have to make new contracts with all these networks, and they want to pay a lot of money, but they may not want to pay as much if this thing lingers on, and who knows where that leads them.
So I just bring that up because is it possible that Ben Cherington is pretty much in limbo and is still, he's under contract, there's no game, so why fire him, pay him not to work, and hire somebody else who might not even have a job to do because there's no games. There's no season to get ready for. So it's a strange time that could impact what the Pirates do with their decision-making once the season ends.
One quick question for you here, less than a minute we have before we go to break, but it'll set the stage for what we talk about with the Steelers. They've got a preseason game coming up. Yes or no, 4 quarterbacks? I noticed Jerry Dulac thinks now it's a possibility. I've said all along, given their uncertainty next year, they probably should try to keep 4, but at whose expense? What do you think happens?
Yeah, I think they're going to keep 4. Right now, that's what my gut tells me. You know, I think could end up being the guy that's the odd man out in this situation indirectly is Caleb Johnson. With Dowdle and Warren and the fact that he doesn't play special teams, is he a guy that gets traded for a late-round pick, or is he someone that gets cut and put on the practice squad? I really think that there's a chance Caleb Johnson is the guy that is one of the people that loses out on an NFL opportunity because the Steelers want to do something different with their quarterbacks this year.
Yeah, you could be right about that, given what happened last year, but he's a third-round pick, and they seem to have 9 lives at times because they were a third-round pick. We got a lot to get into. We want to hear from you at 412-575-2600. Just getting started. It's the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. We're on KDKA Plus and 93.7 The Fan, and we want to hear from you. Welcome back. This is our Xfinity tweet of the night, and you can see it's from Pardon My Take. Mike Florio, who's a guest with Pony and Muller every Wednesday, had this to say. He said, I could see Baker Mayfield taking less money to go to Pittsburgh. And we bring this up because Baker Mayfield is not happy with the way things have gone in Tampa. Now, that's way down the road. They have a lot of things to figure out. He may even get a new deal down there for all we know. And also, Jack B77 wants to know the likelihood of Baker Mayfield ending up as a Steeler. I think if I had to put odds on it, at this point it would be low odds, but just because I think they're going to try to figure out what they have here and draft another quarterback if need be. However, if they still need somebody, and he's the kind of guy I think Pittsburgh would really like, just how tough he is and the way what he's done, especially in Tampa Bay, I wouldn't rule that out at all. What are your thoughts on that and what Florio said today?
I'd love it. I'd be a big fan of it, especially if he's got a chip on his shoulder and is going to pull like a quasi Tom Brady and play a little bit below market value just to kind of stick it to somebody or prove to people that he can win. And not that he's going to play for the league minimum like we had Russell Wilson do a couple of years ago or what Aaron Rodgers sort of did last year. But, the Steelers have shown a penchant for going after veteran guys, and especially going after veteran guys that they perceive as a bargain. And maybe they would look at Baker Mayfield that way if he said, look, for everybody else, I'm a $50 million quarterback, but I'll play for you for 45 or something like that. Because I think Baker Mayfield, what would separate him from Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson and even Ben at the end is I think he's got multiple good years left in him. I think he could play another 5 or 6 high-end seasons, Pro Bowl caliber seasons at quarterback. And I think even though Mike McCarthy's reputation is at quarterback, Bob, I'd rather have a pretty close to a sure thing in Baker Mayfield than the unknown that is a young quarterback.
Right. And they have a very good roster and still should have one next year. You can see our nightly sports call, kdka.com/connect poll of the night, brought to you by Penn West University, is which quarterback is most likely not to make the roster? Your choices: Mason Rudolph, Will Howard, Drew Aller. Let's get to our number one Cochrane Go One Better caller of the night. We go out to Mars, Pennsylvania. We have Rick on the line. Hey, Rick, how are you?
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
I got a question. When these pitchers, the Pirates go against these good pitchers, why don't these guys kind of make them work for what they're doing? I mean, we have guys that go up there, go after the first ball, they hit a ground ball, they're out. Now the pitcher maybe throws 2 or 3 balls, the next guy's out. He gets out of the inning with maybe 5 or 10 pitches, so he can last longer into the game since they're counting.
Well, I mean, that's especially true, I think, of what happens against left-hand starting pitching. For example, Sean Manaea, I think he struck out 11 yesterday. He's not that version of himself, but he was yesterday in winning that game in a blowout 11-1 score. But, plate awareness is something that's, I mean, the way we are in baseball today, Andrew, it seems like strikeouts don't really bother management types and/or managers. They don't. As long as you come up with production, I'll take 25 home runs. I don't care how. You're going to have guys this year go over 200 strikeouts each. Some of them.
That's why I don't really agree with what the caller said. I don't see a lot of quick at-bats where they're swinging at the first pitch, they ground out, and that's it. They lead all of baseball in strikeouts. They strike out more than any team in the league. They've scored the 3rd most runs. So I think the trade-off has worked. I mean, you'd like to see more at-bats with the ball at least in play, but they've generated so much offense this year after being dead last in the league. It's hard for me to argue with how things have transpired. We've just seen the drop-off with the injuries. And again, that's one area where I'm not really going to criticize the Pirates too much. They're scoring a lot fewer runs right now, but you're missing O'Neal Cruz, Connor Griffin. You're just getting Spencer Horwitz back, and you lost O'Hearn again. So I actually give them full marks offensively. It's what's gone on with the starting pitching, and until these trades, the bullpen, that's Those are the biggest culprits for why the Pirates are where they are right now.
And that's even if you take out of Marcell Ozuna out of the question. Their offense still much improved, even despite that contract, which turned out to be terrible. Let's go out to Alex in Swissvale. Alex joins us right here on the hotline. What's up, Alex?
Hey, Pomp and Pony, thanks for having me. Hey, Pony, I got to come after you. This Baker Mayfield idea has got to be the most asinine thing I heard of. We had Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. At least they won Super Bowls, and they took a discount. You want to pay this guy $45 million next year? Can we just get through this year? He's going to be, 31? He's never even got out of the division round.
Well, he's made Tampa pretty good. He has. Go ahead, Pony, respond.
Well, I would just say to the caller, what did Matt Stafford do in Detroit while he was there? How many playoff games did they win? How many great seasons did he have for them? Doormat franchise. He was throwing the ball to Calvin Johnson, too, a first ballot Hall of Famer, and they couldn't get out of their own way. They made the playoffs a couple times, but that was it. Baker Mayfield came here and won a playoff game, all right, with the Browns, which to me is like winning you win a playoff game with the Browns, that's like winning a Super Bowl, in my opinion. I mean, it's just not, almost never happens. It's only happened one time since they've come back into the league in '99, and it was here. So I have a much higher opinion of him. I think the listener or the viewer also has a hard time, I think, with the number, $45 million. I mean, honestly, you've got Tua Tagovailoa and Trevor Lawrence and guys like that making way more money. The salaries are off the charts with quarterbacks. Dak Prescott's making $60 million. So
and they're only going to go higher, too. They're only going to go higher.
Right. You got to recalibrate how you view quarterback salaries, because if you're good, you're going to make an outrageous amount of money, and I think Baker Mayfield is a good quarterback.
Yeah, I do too. And his age is not what when Russell Wilson came here. His age, it wasn't what Aaron Rodgers had. He's still young enough to get some things done. He's been banged up quite a bit, and he takes some hits. He's not afraid to throw his body into trouble, but he's a winner, and he's a grinder. He's somebody I think Pittsburgh would like. But it's too early to talk about that. I know it's topical now because he's having negotiation problems in Tampa, but I think the Steelers would ultimately like to find someone young they could keep around here for, and also on a rookie contract, somebody who can be that sort of person. Easier said than done. How many teams have tried to do that? And the team they're going to play in the opener, you mentioned Tua Tagovailoa. How about Michael Penix Jr.? They spent money. They're trying to find these guys. They're hard to find, Andrew. And if you don't find one, that's when you start going into let's look into the veteran free agents who are available and how much do we give them?
Atlanta thought they covered their bases with Cousins and Penix. And Cousins is now with the Raiders, and Penix had injuries again negatively affect him, which is something that followed him throughout his college career at both Indiana, and then he was great at Washington when they went to the national championship game and lost to Michigan. So, yeah, I mean, that's really where we're at with things. We're in a holding pattern because Aaron Rodgers wanted to play for one more year, and the Steelers accommodated that. I just wonder how much they're going to get out of it. Is it reasonable to expect a guy that old to play 17 games and not miss time because of just the demands of playing the position and getting hit at that position? So I'll be intrigued by that. How many snaps is Aaron Rodgers able to take this year without missing action, Bob?
And he's going to take some snaps in the preseason, something we did not see last year. I mean, that's the general belief here, and I wonder how many that is. If you had a choice, to me, Mason Rudolph is still pretty well established as the backup. What would it take for him to lose that job?
I think Will Howard would have to set the world on fire and have to look like probably Kenny Pickett did in the preseason a couple years ago, where every drive is a touchdown. And you think, oh my goodness, when the lights come on, this guy, it clicks for him and he gets it. Then I think at that point you would reconsider maybe what Rudolph's role is and what's best for Will Howard's long-term development. But I think it would probably take something like that, where if we graded the two quarterbacks in the preseason, Howard got like an A+ and Mason Rudolph was only a C. And I think in that situation, Howard would actually wrestle the job away from Rudolph.
Jim in Green Tree, you're next up here on the Sports Call. Hey, Jim.
How you doing?
What's up?
Hey, Bob. Remember when I told you when the Pirates went to Milwaukee and Cincinnati, they'd lose 6 out of 8, and they did.
I actually do remember that. You said 2 and 6.
Yep.
You were right.
And right? And then when they lost 2 out of 3 to the Mets, now the next 3 games they're going to lose in a row.
Well, the funny thing about all that, Jim, is the fact that the Miami Marlins, like the Washington Nationals, have sold things, and here they are, still in a position better than the Pirates, which is hard to believe. But I don't know what to make of these next year. All I know is they got the Red Sox after that, trips to LA and San Diego. Bleak is a word I would use right now for them.
I mean, what's the record going to look like at the end of the year? I mean, you'd like to think it's going to be better than it was last season. The most games they've won in the Ben Cherington era is 76. They should be able to do better than that, Bob. But when you say bleak, I mean, you're 4 games under. What if you get to 8 or 9 games under? Then trying to get back to that win total, that high water mark of 76, might not be easy. You might have a win total that looks like last year's team.
Yeah, I think it's interesting tomorrow. Skeens is on the mound. We'll see what we get out of him in this game because he has just not been very good, and that'll at least start them off in the right way if they could somehow win that game. But there's a long way to go. We got to take a break. We still have some time to go, so call us at 412-575-2600 right here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Bob Pompeani, Andrew Fillipponi back with you. We're joined by Jim and Shaler. Jim, you have 20 seconds. Make it quick, please.
Hey, Bob. Quick question to ask you guys real quick. How come in the past you had Shelton on the radio shows on your show, and you guys used to talk to him every Tuesday or Wednesday, and you guys don't have Don Kelly on there at all? Why doesn't he do any interviews? Do you have any reason why?
Well, he does a lot of interviews. He just that's something different. That was something Derek was interested in doing, and he did it, and then he didn't do it. I mean, I don't know if it was even approached, honestly, Pony, but I'm sure, Don Kelly's been very accountable in that he shows up before practice or before games, answers questions after games as well. You may not like the answers, but he doesn't.
Yeah, which comes with the job. That's the job requirement of being a baseball manager. Speaking of managing big games, I got to shout out the Washington County Pony League World Series team. They beat Puerto Rico.
They beat Texas the other day, and now that. Really good.
Yeah, that's a huge win for them. So keep up the good work, guys.
I thought you might be an ambassador, Pony on Pony, get down to the Pony League World Series.
I mean, that's the easiest marketing campaign in the history of sports. I agree.
You should be at Lou Hay Stadium. All right, we got to go. Take a break, and we're done. Thank you, Pony. We appreciate it.
Bob.
We'll do it again tomorrow night. Thank you for joining us here. Call us every night. We're here talking sports at 412-575-2600. Have a good night.